What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Jimmy and welcome back to part 2 of how to Solidworks. If you haven't yet, go ahead and check out part 1 before you watch this video. The link should be down at the bottom. Watch that video, then go back here and watch this one. So the first video is all about 2D, getting set up and all that stuff. The second video here is going to be about 3D. So let's go ahead and do it. Let's go to File, New, and let's stay in part mode and hit OK. Again guys, if this is all foreign to you, go ahead and watch part 1. So the very first thing we want to do when we're in SolidWorks is hit the sketch tab and enter into sketch mode. That's how we're going to be building stuff in 3D. It's going to prompt us now to select a plane. So go ahead and drop down your feature manager tree. Go ahead and select the front plane, and we're going to begin drawing on our front plane. So let's go ahead and select the circle tool and click in the origin, drag out, select again, and to close up our circle. And then I'm going to go ahead and dimension this thing. So go ahead and select your dimensioning tool, select the outer circle, drag up, and click again. So let me go ahead and dimension this thing about 1 inch, and then hit the green check mark, and we should have our 1 inch circle. Go ahead and exit out of sketch mode by hitting the green icon up at the top right, and there we see our circle and our first sketch. So I'm going to go ahead and begin extruding this thing and making it 3-dimensional. So how we do that is go ahead and select that feature tab right next to the sketch one, and you're going to see all of our 3D tools. So we're going to go ahead and use this one right here. This is going to be the most basic one, the extrude. So let's go ahead and select that, and right now it's asking us to select what sketch we want. So go ahead and select that sketch in our feature manager tree, that very first one that we did, our sketch 1 with the circle. So go ahead and select that, and SolidWorks will know that that's what we want to extrude. So you guys can see there, it's beginning to extrude my circle in 3 dimensions like a cylinder. As you guys can see, go ahead and click that arrow and drag outwards, and we can go ahead and expand our cylinder that way. But there is a more precise way to adjust our length. If you guys check out this area right here, go ahead and change that to 0.5, and then go ahead and click the viewport. Don't click enter, because then it's going to exit out before you're ready. So go ahead and just click the viewport, and it should update our cylinder length. You guys notice that there is another arrow on the rear side. We can go ahead and click and expand that now and adjust the direction, or adjust the length of that direction. So currently I'm in blind now. If you guys notice on the left there, it says blind. And down at the bottom there's my direction 2 for that opposite end that we just pulled out. So if we want to be precise, we can go ahead and change each one to about 1/2 inch, which will in total make my cylinder 1 inch in length. And if you guys see this arrow, up and down arrow right here, we can go ahead and click that, and it'll incrementally change our cylinder that way. So if you like going it that way, go ahead and do that. Again guys, we're in blind mode, so there's other ways of actually expanding our cylinder, and I'll show you guys that next. So go ahead and click that green check mark in order to tell the program that we're done with our extrusion adjustment. And if we rotate around here, you guys can see that it's a good cylinder right there. And to the left, our sketch 1 has now changed to a boss extrude 1. And if we go ahead and click that down arrow, we can see our original sketch and our extrusion that we applied onto that sketch. So if you ever wanted to go ahead and alter your cylinder after applying the 3D, the feature, the extrusion on it, we could go ahead and click that sketch, and then go ahead and click that edit sketch button just as you saw. And I could go ahead and change my circle now to like a different dimension, like 1/2 inch. And then we'll go ahead and exit sketch mode, and we could see that our cylinder now has updated to 1/2 inch. Now how to edit our boss extrude. So instead of clicking that sketch, click the boss extrude, and then go ahead up here and edit sketch. Go ahead and click that, and now we are going to adjust our boss extrude that we did. So not our sketch, guys. See, I can't change that dimension of the circle, but I can change the extrusion. So because we're in the edit extrusion, not the edit sketch, right? So I could go ahead and change that to like 0.25. The other end will be 0.25, making it match our sketch diameter. Looks pretty good to me. Let's go ahead and exit out of our edit feature by clicking that green check mark, and as we rotate around, it looks pretty good, and you guys can see that everything has updated to the right diameter and also the right length. So I'm going to show you guys another way how to extrude. So let's go ahead and draw something else. So go ahead and enter back into sketch mode, and this time we're going to be selecting our top plane to sketch on. Go ahead and hit that normal 2 to snap to the top plane, and then I'm going to select my circle tool right here. And with the helpful guide that pops up, I'm going to now click on in line with that guide and click once and then click out again. So let's go ahead and dimension this thing. I'm going to make it 1/2 inch like before, and then hit that green check mark. It looks good to me, and then exit out of sketch mode. So everything looks good. If you guys can see, there is my boss and my original sketch. If I close that window, and then we have our second sketch. So you guys notice that everything that we do is going to be recorded in this left side feature manager tree. Okay, that part is gonna be very handy. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys how to extrude in 2 different ways. So before, I used to select the feature tab and then select the extrude button and then select my second sketch, or the sketch that I want to extrude, right? But there's another way to do it. You could go ahead and select your sketch and then select extrude, and then that tells the program, it knows which sketch I want to extrude initially. I don't have to go ahead and select it after the fact. So that's just another way to do it. Right now, you guys can notice that I'm in blind mode. Remember blind mode? Essentially, blind mode is where I can do everything manually. I can click this arrow and drag up, and then click the bottom one and drag out. And I could adjust that as much as I want. A very, very manual way to do it. But let's say I wanted to do it equally on both sides without adjusting them separately. So go ahead and click blind. A drop-down menu is going to pop up, and there's going to be a couple of different methods. Go ahead and select that very end one, the mid plane. Now you guys notice the behavior has changed. If we select the arrow there, it is gonna expand on both ends of that cylinder. If you guys notice that the bottom one doesn't really do anything, but that main top one will. So I could go ahead and make this whole cylinder 1/2 inch and click the check mark. So you guys can see the difference between blind and midpoint there. Just another way of helping you build the things that you need to build. So now we have our first cylinder, which is drawn on the front plane, and our second one drawn on the top plane. And you guys can see now both of them are our base extrudes, base extrude 1 and base extrude 2. Let's go ahead and continue on. Go ahead and enter into sketch mode, and now we're going to draw on our right plane. So go ahead and select the right plane and snap to the right plane by hitting the normal 2 button. Let's go ahead and draw in another circle. So I'm going to use that helpful guide, snap to there, and then go ahead and drag out. Dimension the circle again, guys, 1/2 inch, and click on the green check mark. And now let's go ahead and exit out of dimension by clicking the green check. And notice, guys, we're still in sketch mode by seeing these 2 icons right up at the top right, but I could actually add my feature while I'm still in sketch mode. So if you go into the feature tab and then go ahead and click on your extrude base boss, you can see that I can go ahead and do that without exiting out of sketch mode, save you some time. So go ahead and set it to midplane. It already looks like the length is correct by 1/2 inch. Go ahead and click that green check mark, and now I'm all done. So you guys can see I have my very first cylinder drawn on the front plane, my second one drawn on the top plane, and then my last one drawn on the right plane. So those, you guys can notice now, kind of get a better understanding of how planes work to get it into the direction that you want. Whatever you're building, get it into the right direction. Okay, so let me go ahead and continue on by showing you guys some more things. So enter back into sketch mode by clicking the sketch tab, clicking the sketch button. Go ahead and select your front plane. And this time I'm actually not going to extrude a circle like what you guys have seen 3 times already. Let's go ahead and select a square, so a box or something like that. I'm going to select the center one. Use the useful guides, click once and then click out again. So you guys can see now we got our box. I'm going to go ahead and dimension this thing. So let's go ahead and change this to 1/2 inch like usual. Click the green check mark. and you guys can see there that it's 1/2 inch. I could go ahead and dimension this side as well to make sure that it's 1/2 inch. Remember when I talked about the relations earlier with you guys? Well, I'm gonna go ahead and show you that now. So let's go ahead and delete this second dimension here, and I'm gonna go ahead and select this line, go ahead and hold shift and select that side line, okay? And then on the left here, I could now add my relations by selecting those two lines. Right now there it's set to 1/2 inch. If I select the equal, it's going to make that top part and that side line equal to each other. And you guys notice the relations that pop up in the green here, the two equal signs, it shows that they're both equal in length to each other. So that's the beauty of relations, guys. Go ahead and exit out of sketch mode. If you guys can see, there is my square. I'm going to go ahead and select this square, go into the feature tab and select extrude base boss. Boom. So now we got a cube. Go ahead and select the midplane so that it extrudes on both evenly on both ends. Looks good to me. I'm going to go ahead and click the green check mark. And there you go. We have made our first cube. Oh my goodness. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and check out this left side here. It says solid bodies in our feature manager tree, and the solid bodies essentially is calling out the different parts that we have. So if you guys can notice all the different parts that we built, we have our first 3 cylinders and the cube that we built right here. So you can go ahead and keep track of all your different separate parts in this location. Let's go ahead and try something a little bit different this time. Go ahead and select my sketch and then enter into the sketch button. And this time, instead of selecting our typical planes, I could actually select one of these flat sides. So remember how we used to select our planes right here? But instead of doing that, this time I can actually select any side that is flat. So you notice this side, the rounded side of these cylinders, I cannot select those sides to sketch on. I can only select the flat sides. So the flat side of the circle or any side of the square. Cube. So I'm gonna go ahead and select maybe this side right here. So I just clicked it, this plane right there, and then I'm gonna snap to it by clicking my normal 2 button, and then I'm gonna select the circle tool. Go ahead and select the center one, and I'm going to snap right to the center of that surface and then click out. So let's take this one step further than the first couple ones by adding this offset entities tool. So go ahead and select that. Since your circle was already selected, or originally if it wasn't, go ahead and select that circle first and then select offset entities. We can change our offset entities right here. Oops, just a little bit too big there. I'm gonna go 0.05. So we can see that the preview is in yellow, and that looks pretty good to me. So right now it offset that original circle that I drew by 0.05, and I'm gonna go ahead and exit out of my offset entities by clicking the green check mark, and you guys can see it's like a donut shape right there. Let's go ahead and exit out of sketch mode and begin adding a feature to it. So go ahead and go back to your feature tab, go ahead and click on extrude base boss. It's asking us which sketch do we want to extrude. Go ahead and drop down your feature manager tree, click on the sketch. So now we can see that it extruded our double circle shape, our concentric circle donut shape, right? You guys can see that tube right there. I could go ahead, since it's blind, I could change that, but I want to change it more precisely, so I'll do it 1/2 inch, and then I'll click on the green check mark. So if you guys can tell, it made that tube shape on top of our original cylinder, connecting them together right there. And the reason why I know they're connected is because if we take a look at our solid bodies feature manager tree section, we can see that it's only 4 parts. See, only 4 parts right here. But we did 5 different features, but only 4 different parts. And it's because Solidworks assumed that we wanted them both connected together. But let's say we didn't. Go ahead and go back into our last feature that we did and then click on it. Then click on the edit button just right there. And see this little section right here, it says merge results with the little check mark. Go ahead and uncheck that. This is going to be very, very important, guys. This is pretty much telling the program that we want it to be separate and we don't want it to connect together. So go ahead and click that green check mark, And onto the left side in our solid bodies, we can see now that we have 5 solid bodies, 5 different parts. So please remember guys about that merge results little checkbox, okay? That's going to be very important if you want separate parts. Okay, let's try, let's expand on this a little bit more. So go ahead and enter back into sketch mode and select this plane right here. So go ahead and click that plane, and then I'm going to go ahead and snap to it. Then go ahead and select your circle tool. Let's do the center one, and I'm going to snap right into the center origin and click once and then click again. Okay, so now we have our circle. I'm going to click the check and exit out of sketch mode. So now we have our sketch. Okay guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and extrude this circle. So go ahead and make sure that's highlighted, click features, and then extrude base boss. And this time around, I am going to now extrude this circle here all the way through my other parts. So look at that guys, it's going through my other parts. Right now, since I have the merge results selected, it's going to connect all of these parts together. So let's go ahead and click on the green check mark. And as you guys can see, it has now merged this whole 3 different parts into one. So if you guys can see, now I have 3 solid bodies here. I have my cylinder, I have my tube that I drew, and then I have connected all 3 of these together since I had the merge results selected, and I also went through the parts. So please logically kind of think about that and understand that, because that's going to be very important. But let's go back and now uncheck that merge result. So go ahead and edit our feature, and you guys can see that's where it merged all of our parts, these 3 different parts. It's pretty much saying it merged all 3 of those together. If we uncheck that, we can see now that, and we go ahead and exit out of the boss, we can see now that it lives by itself. So now that cylinder, that really long one that I drew through all the parts, it's now its own solid body. But let's just say this boss extrude here, that very long one, I did want to connect him to the other one. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that button, edit boss extrude, and let's go ahead and click on that merge results and make sure that it's clicked. Then down here, we're going to uncheck the auto, because we don't want the program to select it for us. We personally want to select it ourselves. So in this box, let's go ahead and select the ones we want to connect it with. So I'm going to go ahead and click this one. And you can see when I clicked that cylinder, it appeared on the left side in that little box right here. So let's go ahead and select this square cube right here, and then you can see that it also popped up on the left box as well. So those 2, I'm going to go ahead and click the green check mark to confirm that I'm done with editing. So we select that solid body at the very end there. You can see that the long extrude connected to the cylinder and to the cube that we both selected, whereas the other 3 parts are their own solid body. So if we take a look at our feature manager tree here, we can see we have 3 solid bodies. So I want to make it 2 now. I want to connect that tube to the large body here. So let's go to that one, the base boss. That's the one that corresponds to the cylinder, the tube. And then I'm going to go ahead and click on that edit button. Go ahead and check on merge results, because I do want to merge it now. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and uncheck the auto, even though it's automatically going to save or merge to this cylinder right here, but I'm just going to go ahead and manually do it so I know it's right. So go ahead and click on that green check button, guys, to confirm that you're done. And we could see in our solid bodies, we only have 2 now. We have the outer one, and then we have this large section right here. So I want to show you guys this whole idea of building on top of each feature. So if I edit this one in here, it is going to show everything that I've built up to it. If I go ahead and edit this one, which is the very first one, so we'll go ahead and click on that edit button, you can see that everything else disappeared, and that's the only thing that shows, because at the time that was the only thing that was built. But if I go ahead and click on this green check, you can see that everything else appears, because that is the most up-to-date thing. But if I click on this blue bar here, we can actually roll back to our original thing that we did, and then we could see our whole history. But just to know, guys, that if you delete something earlier on that you built, or a feature or a sketch, you might run into problems with the features that you did later or after that one. So just to keep an eye on that. All right, so let's go ahead and do another sketch, and this time I'm going to sketch on this top surface of the cube right here. So I'm going to go ahead and select that top surface, go ahead and zoom onto it. I'm gonna go ahead and draw a circle. So right now I'm trying to draw a circle in the center of the sketch. So I'm using these helpful guides here to help me snap to that center. You guys see that? Boom. So how I did that, so I found that center. I could have drawn a construction line, but I decided to do it that way. Okay, so we have our circle drawn on our cube surface. I'm gonna go ahead and exit out of sketch mode, go in our feature tab, and let's go to this button, extrude cut. So this is not extrude base boss, this is extrude cut. And the idea is that it is gonna cut through our object rather than build something, okay? So let's go ahead and right now we're currently on blind, but I could go ahead and change it more precisely through here. So if I do 0.25, it's gonna cut it through halfway down. And you guys can see the preview there in the yellow. And if I go ahead and click on the check mark exiting out, I can see that there is my cavity, there is my cylinder hole that I ended up cutting out of the cube. Okay, so let's go ahead and edit it. So go back and click on the cut feature and then the edit button. And let's go ahead and just drag it all the way through and cut completely through the cube. And then go ahead and click on the check mark and let's go ahead and check out our work. So we can see that it cut all the way through the square. So if you guys have noticed by now, I'm showing you guys very basic, simple stuff. We're going slow, guys. I could have really zipped through showing you guys the extrude base boss and the base cut, but I wanted to show you guys those very minor intricacies about selecting the little merge results checkbox if you want whatever you built on top of another part to connect with it or not. And in order to select which parts you want to connect to it, you go ahead and uncheck that auto. You know, just like little stuff like that. You need to know this stuff when you're building in Solidworks or it's just not going to turn out the way that you want to. So we're going slow, guys, and I just wanted to really show you guys that carefully. Okay, let's go ahead and go into our sketch mode. Click on the sketch, and then now we're going to select the surface that we want to sketch on. So I'm going to select on this side of this cylinder right here. I'm going to go ahead and use let's see, maybe a polygon tool this time. The circles are getting kind of boring. So let's go ahead and do the polygon tool, and I'm going to snap to the center, boom. And let's see, I'm going to drag it out about here. So now I got my hexagon, and I'm going to go ahead and do an offset to it this time. So I'm going to offset it inwards. So I'm going to click on that reverse, and so we can see the preview. I'm going to go ahead and click on the green check mark. And now what's going to happen is that if we extrude cut this, it's going to cut only that inside, that donut kind of shape. So let's go ahead and do extrude cut now. Since my sketch has been already selected, automatically I'm just going to go ahead and drag it through. It didn't even ask me which sketch I wanted to extrude cut because I already had it selected in blue. So let's go ahead and cut it through about there. And we can see that now it's cut that shape out of that cylinder. But imagine if I cut it all the way through, that would leave us two parts. It would leave us that inside part and then the outside part. So let's go ahead and try that out. So go ahead and go back to that extrude cut, go to the edit button, and let's cut it all the way through this time, guys. Just drag it all the way out. And then we can see that I've cut it all the way through now. It's not going to stay connected in that one part. So let's go ahead and click on the green check to let the program know it's done, and this window is going to pop up. So this window is essentially asking me which parts do I want to keep? All of them? All the bodies? If I click OK, the program's going to know to keep both parts, the inside and the outside. But let's say I wanted to only keep one. Let's go ahead and edit. So go to cut, edit feature, go ahead and click on the check mark, and then the window is going to pop up again. So if I go ahead and select this part, that's the outer one. So if I have that one checked, but if I want the bottom one, it'll be the inside part. So I'll go ahead and do that and click OK. So now it kept that inside part for me. So if you guys can see, I'm trying to show you guys all these little different options that will pop up when you start to extrude cut one piece in and make it two pieces. It's going to ask you these things, and so I want you guys to know that. That's why we're going really slow with this, but I hope you guys aren't bored yet. I'm gonna end up showing you guys more of the fancier features later in the next video. Actually, I'll go ahead and show you guys a quick preview of the next video where we're going to go over some of the more advanced features. But I really just wanted to go more slow in this video, guys. And I know it was probably kind of boring, but I hope you really paid attention and knew which kind of buttons did what. And so it could really help you when you're eventually starting to build your own thing. All of this that I'm covering, guys, I'm only covering it because I know it's going to be important when you start building something. These are the things that I click on, that I look at, that I use like second nature almost every single day. And so for you to learn it brand new, just go ahead and practice. Keep following the videos. You know, these are videos you could go back and reverse and watch them again, and in no time you're gonna be a pro. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is a preview showing you guys how to do the sweep tool, but I'll show you guys in more detail in the next video. But anyways, guys, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already and you want to continue watching this series and learning how to become an industrial designer. I'd really appreciate that. And also hit that thumbs up button if you learned something. It would really help me out and it'll show me that you appreciated me taking the time out to make this video. Leave me a comment letting me know if you have any questions at all. Alright guys, that is about it. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.